like to lower your monthly mortgage payments or use the equity in your home to consolidate your credit card or other debts? Just log on.
Number 2.
Yeah. This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center. The CNN Center right now is just beginning to work on this story, obviously calling our sources and trying to figure out exactly what happened, but clearly something relatively devastating happening this morning there on the south end of the island of Manhattan. That is, once again, a picture of one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
I found out it had to be during third period because I had a prep period, I had a free period, and so did Mr. Heller. And I remember walking into the writing center in the old building, and he had the TV on and told me that a plane had just crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center, and then we sort of watched some of the news together as it was happening.
Is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the two towers. A huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way!
9/11 brought Americans closer together. They watched the tragedies happen throughout the day. They saw how it impacted those who had lost people. And so they just came together as a united front. But, of course, with this united front, they just searched for someone to blame. So even somebody who appeared Middle Eastern, they would hate and they would fear. So something as simple as a turban could send chills down someone and could just spark rage in someone else. Everybody reacted differently, but definitely people turned against those who came from the Middle East.
Place called the Heights in a town called Ridgewood, and we used to drive up there as juniors and seniors when we got cars, because you could see this beautiful skyline of the city. And what really impacts my picture in my mind is that all of my friends came home from school that weekend after we found out, and we drove up to the Heights and we sat there and we looked at the skyline, and all you could see were just two smokestacks just floating and flying into the air in the place of where the towers had been. And we just sat there and we cried. And one of my friends had lost their parent that weekend, and we just called them, and they came out, and we just sat there and we cried about, just how people could do this to our country.
That you can see behind us that hit the World Trade Center. That's Washington, the old executive office building, I believe, and you can see the plume of smoke behind it, which we will assume until we're told otherwise that that's the fire at the Pentagon. I believe that's correct. as you look now at Washington. So we've got a major fire at the Pentagon, and the Pentagon being evacuated, the White House being evacuated, and we don't know precisely the circumstances there, what caused that decision. And we have these two enormous explosions at the World Trade Center here in New York, where two planes slammed into the buildings. Another plane has crashed, this one about 80 miles south of Pittsburgh.
These are the first pictures we have in. This is from Somerset County, Pennsylvania. This is where the United Airlines Flight 93, this was a Boeing 757 bound from Newark, New Jersey to San Francisco. It crashed in Somerset County, Pennsylvania, near the town of Shanksville, south of Pittsburgh. We're told about 80 miles outside of Pittsburgh.
It definitely impacted my life emotionally. I was really upset. I didn't know anybody there. I didn't, have any personal connections. But I think a lot of people will say whether you knew somebody or didn't know somebody, it was a very unstable time period.
We're not as trusting as we used to be, and in some cases I think that's a good thing, but it's changed laws in our country, and I don't think we'll ever be the same.
It's a prayer for our fallen brothers and sisters. There's a blood-red circle on the cold, dark ground, and the rain is falling down. The church door's thrown open, I can hear the organ song, but the congregation's gone. My city of ruin, my city of ruin. Now the sweet bells of mercy drift through the evening trees, young men on the corner like scattered leaves. The boarded up windows, the empty streets, and my brother's down on his knees. My city of ruins, my city of ruins. Come on, rise up, 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 come on, rise up. Come on, rise up. Now there's tears on pillows, darling, where we slept. And you took my heart when you left. Without your sweet kiss, my soul is lost, my friend. Tell me, how do I begin again? My city's in ruin. My city's in ruin.